Didn't realise you were right behind me.
This is no ordinary camper van with a pop top, a kitchen along the side, a bed in the rear. This is more of a pick and mix, taking the aspects you want and leaving the bits behind that you don't need. I'm also going to show you how you can have a VW Transporter camper van that can sleep 6 people. Why did you buy the layout which you've got? Is it because that's the camper van layout? It doesn't need to be. There are lots of variations, and this weekend's van is just one of those variations. I've shown you differences which you can have in some of my previous videos, but perhaps this one is actually one which is most suited to me at this current time. Although there is something missing from this one which I would like maybe need to change or add if this was my van. This weekend I'm going to be taking this van away to a quiet campsite on the edge of Dartmoor to try it out. Then I'm going to be heading to the coast to test its credentials as a day at the beach. I'm going to be eating, sleeping and exploring in it, discussing the functions and facilities the van has. Let's get moving and see how we get on.
The base van itself here is kind of irrelevant because whether you have a VW Transporter panel van, a Kombi van, a single slider, twin slider, you can have the same outcome. You can even have the same setup in an ID Buzz, a multivan, or the all-new Ford Transit, or even the old Ford Transit for that matter. Pretty much any other van of your choosing. Although do make sure that you speak to the guys first to make sure that it does fit the van which you're going in, but they do different sizes. Anyway, this van is a good spec, which I am definitely in favour of. If you spend a lot of time behind the wheel, then you want it to have, some very, very good options to make that experience a little bit better, more comfortable, more tech, more functionality. I do like a heated seat, although obviously not today. The sun has made an appearance, but it does have LED lights front and rear and a reversing camera, plus lots and lots of other bits. Now this is a 2021 T6.1 Highline. It's a van with a 2-litre diesel 150 horsepower engine, so obviously that's got the 6-speed because it is a manual, and it started life as a panel van. But it's been converted into a Kombi van by the team at Slide Pods, and they've done an excellent job of it. It's been sound deadened, insulated, carpeted, and looks absolutely fantastic. Well, actually that is a bit of an understatement because it really is a fantastic looking van and they've done a lot to it. The actual carpet which they use is a premium carpet and it's different to what other converters use, and I will discuss this in a follow-up video which I'm going to be doing with the owner. But the styling of the panels is different, a nice break from the norm. It's not just a flush panel, it's got contrasting Alcantara, which I think really does look good. I do much prefer the darker carpet, and this is just a step above. They have also added rear speakers, which I've done to mine, and I do think it makes a difference which is worth doing. The roof is also different. It's been treated to Alcantara, matching that of the panel inlays, and this is something that really does set it apart from others. It's just not what you often see. And I'm going to come back to some of the other internal aspects later, as this is one of the development vans. They test out new products on it, test out the features, and this has got some brand new features which I'm going to be testing out and see how they perform. Externally though, and I know not everybody likes external styling, but it is definitely one of those personal preferences, and this has the Leighton Vans LVR styling, the full kit, the more comprehensive kit. Now, I have a black van myself, and it's just black on black on black, but this, however, it's got gold trim, and throughout it looks brilliant. It really does make it stand out. The gold detailing at the front, is it gold or is it bronze? I don't know, but it's got gold detailing at the front, around the sides, and it looks really good. And furthermore, it features some of my favourite wheels. Well, that's until I'd seen the new Leighton Vans LV4s, which I really do like, and I do fancy some of them in all-terrain tyres. Anyway, that's just me, but what a difference a bit of colour makes, eh? But that's not what we're here for. We're here to test the camper aspect, what for most is the most important aspect of a camper. Hence we call them camper vans and not just vans. Let me explain what this is, and I will use it and I will report back on my thoughts. This is the slide pod which turns your van into a camper van. It's been around for several years now, and we're going to get into the full history of it when I actually sit down, meet the owner and talk about the history of the company. Over the years, the product's been developed further due to the feedback which they've got from customers, and also just some ideas, new ideas which they've got themselves. Improvements in technology, and those fresh ideas are brought into the different generations, and this now is the third generation of the slide pod, and there's still more develops to come from it. There are extra items for this slide pod which are being developed as we speak, and it's essentially a kitchen, a bed and storage all in a single pull-out unit extending from the rear of the van. One of the big benefits of this system is that it's completely removable. So 1 minute you have a van, then 5 minutes later you've got a camper van that enables you to sleep in it, eat in it and enjoy that outdoor lifestyle. This particular van is a Kombi, so the bed rests on the back of the seats when the seats fold flat. However, it also works with vans with no seats due to the fact that the supporting legs will actually support the bed frame. So your work van can be transformed into a camper for the weekend. The versatility is what I've spoken about numerous times on my channel. Smaller size camper vans, as the Transporter is, don't need a full conversion. This contains what you need. This has got the twin gas hob, but one can be spec'd with an induction hob or a mix of the two if you wish. There is a sink and also a shower. I'm going to be putting that shower into use tomorrow. The sink has a wastewater tank also, so when your grey water drains, it goes into a tank and that can be emptied at the touch of a button. You could also use a waste container underneath or park it over a drain. It's really, really simple to use. And the fresh water tank is easily accessible for topping it up. Although do watch this space on that because they've got a new option coming soon. And speaking of new products, they do have some new ones coming. A slide tray and a bike carrying system. Something for the mountain bikers amongst us. And storage in here is via the tambour door, which can easily store your pans, your plates, your cups, your bowls, and that all important windshield for cooking. Cutlery is around the side here, and that looks pretty cool. And it also lights up at night. There is also a table which can have several uses. You could use it for prep or you could use it to eat from. But this van has got the brilliant locate table, so that is also an option. Electrics wise, there are options here. There's USB sockets, a 12-volt socket and LED lights. The lights at night are going to be really useful, very bright and in the right areas. The unit can obtain its power from either the van system, a leisure battery setup or a portable power station. I've opted for the latter as I wanted to see how my latest Bluetti coped with it. So I plugged in the 12-volt socket and I'm powered up. And by me using this, I've also got access to the 240 volts on the Bluetti rather than me being hooked up. But if I want to hook up, which I can do here, then it's also got 240 volts and you plug that in under the bonnet and it's got charging facilities to actually charge the van's starter battery, because this doesn't have a leisure battery system. They've opted not to choose a leisure battery system in this van because they've got some kind of trick electrical system, which again we'll speak to the owner about when we actually meet him. They've got quite a lot of products in development and that is one of them which they're testing out at the moment, so I look forward to hearing a bit more about that. The bed is made utilising a folding phenolic ply bedboard which opens up to provide the length, and the mattress can be placed on top of this. This is a huge benefit over the typical Transporter conversion bed because it's full width, giving you much more room to stretch out sideways, so there's no much sleeping on top of each other like you can be in those kind of beds. It's very well thought out and it works really, really well. Let me use it a little bit more and I'm going to return to give you my exact thoughts on it. I'm going to be testing out each of the various different camping situations. So let me have some sleep in it and let's crack on and see what it's like. I've had a few days now getting to know this slide pod system and we seem to be actually getting on quite well. The first thing that I'm really impressed with is the sliding motion. This is ridiculously smooth, a lot actually smoother than I thought. Don't really know what I was expecting, but it just glides. It's locked and unlocked by the push buttons on the front and then locked in place by 2 more buttons at the back. Just make sure you pop them in so it doesn't come out. And not only is it simple to slide out so it can be used, but also the table can easily be added to create a prep area or whatever else you want to be using it for. The storage is a nice big area, ideal for cups, bowls, plates, pans, and the shower attachment, which I'm going to be coming on to later. I've found the cutlery side storage to be really useful and definitely a perfect use of this space, otherwise it'd just be an empty space. The sink and gas hob needs very little discussion, as it's the Dometic 2-burner hob and sink that you'll have seen in many other camper conversions. I've been using it for boiling water and cooking on, and as expected, it's done the job without fault. And this is assisted by the windshield, always a really good idea to ensure that that flame burns far better, because it does burn better when it's shielded from that wind, giving it that less exposure. It'll mean your water boils quicker and your food cooks quicker. It was perfect for breakfast, sausage and bacon sandwiches, prepped on the table along with a brew. And just to add, a reminder of how useful the non-slip crockery set is. It passed the Tilt the Table challenge with flying colours. Really, really useful item to get. Probably I'd say one of the essential items when you are getting that crockery set which you're purchasing. Try and get non-slip because it makes a huge difference. After eating, washing up is easy too. It's the Dometic sink and tap. Flip the tap up and away you go. Well, after turning on the water pump with a switch. However, the really clever bit here is the inbuilt wastewater tank. You could take the waste carrier with you if you wanted, but that's just going to take up space. So plan ahead and be aware of where your waste could go. I knew that there was a grey waste emptying facility at the site, so that's exactly what I did. With the water pump switched on, it's just another switch inside, and once flicked, it pumps out the wastewater, and it's just brilliant. You just pop out the slide pod and away you go. When it stops, press the switch off and off you go. Drive away, carry on with your adventure. After sliding the pod away, of course. And the other switch on the front is for the pod lights, and these certainly do the job well. There are various pictures here I took when it was getting dark. As you can see, everything is really well lit, even the ground from the LEDs underneath. Inside the cupboard is all lit up, and the crockery storage. I love that, absolutely love it. It's just been done really well. Very, very simple, but really, really effective. And I've powered all this by my Bluetti for the last few days, and it's hardly actually used any charge. I think by the time we've been charging phones and things like that, I think it's only gone down by about 14%, which is pretty decent. On the front of the pod, there's a 12-volt socket and also USB ports. These were actually used by my son when we're outside at the table so he could charge his phone. This is also useful for charging other devices or powering devices if you've got a tailgate awning. And next to the USB ports is the shower point, and this is extremely beneficial for a number of reasons. Our outdoor lifestyles does lead to circumstances in which we need to wash sand off our feet, cleaning our boots after a muddy walk, washing down a dirty puppy, or even taking a full shower. And this works really well and has decent pressure. There's no hassle, it's just a case of attaching the shower hose and use it. Really simple, but very effective. I think all the campervans should have a shower attachment in some shape or form. Well, maybe every van of mine, as I think they are such a useful addition. Although there is another enhancement suggestion that I would make, but those are coming up a little bit later. At the back of the slide pod is where the water container, electrics and gas are connected. The electrics is a simple 12-volt connection into either the van or a portable power station. As I've said, I use my Bluetti. The water container is attached to the back of the pod, normally by straps. However, this is actually a new thing which they're testing out, a new system which is actually a bungee cord method, and it seems to be working really well. It's just a case of pulling the cords back and dropping the water carrier in there. The hose is then in place and you're good to go. And as I mentioned, they're continually looking at ways to improve their product, and one way is to actually connect this to an underslung tank. The gas connection is also here, and in this pod it's a simple threaded canister one. Screw in place, turn on the gas, and you're cooking on gas. Yeah, sorry about that. Also around the back we can see the supports for the bedboard system. And as I've said, you don't need the rear seats as it can support itself with this aluminium frame. Getting the bed out is hassle-free. The phenolic plyboards are hinged and they just fall flat out to support the mattress. From here, it's just a case of putting down a bed sheet and using your choice of sleeping bag or duvet. For extra comfort, if you wish, you could take your duvet, but that's just if you're looking for luxury, as this mattress is really comfy enough. What I really liked about waking up in this bed though was opening the curtains. Spoiler alert, there's another upgrade which I will come on to, but that's the van, not actually the pod. You open the curtains and you have the view right in front of you. You could even pop up the tailgate as well and get an even better view. I really like that idea. My daughter said she wants that too, so maybe we just need to start looking at pop tops
or perhaps for less money, maybe a roof tent. There's some really good options at the moment for roof tents or tent boxes, whatever you want to call them. A roof tent could actually be potentially better value than a pop-top. For a good pop-top these days, they really cost in big money, far more than the most expensive roof tent. And they're absolutely brilliant. They are different, yes, I know, but in a lot of people's thought processes, when they're thinking about getting a pop-top, they're just thinking about sleeping in it, which is exactly what a roof tent brings. But that's another story for another day, so maybe watch this space on that one. Back to the slide pod. And these are available in 2 different sizes, and as they've evolved over the years, they've been able to fit these into various different types of vehicles. Not only the VWs with the transporters as we've got here, the Kombis, the panel vans, the ID Buzz, the California Beach. They also do for other manufacturers as well, like the Ford Transit, including the new Ford Transit, the VW Transporter Alliance van. They also bring them out in different colours and different finishes. Personally, I would actually opt one for the bare wood rather than that edging, but everybody's got different choices. You can spec whatever colour and any scheme which you want for it. It's your pod, you speak to them and they'll come up with the colour match which you need. I like this van, and it's nice to see some products and changes which they've got in the development stages, like the underslung tank which I've mentioned. That would be a really good addition. I also like the fact that they're able to run the electrics from a power station rather than the battery, and by the flick of a switch it can actually be powering the van itself, the van lights and all the sockets and things on the van, just by flicking a switch over from the vehicle battery to the power station. That's a really good thing which they've got going on at the moment. It means that the slide pod could be connected to the van, and then the van could be powered by the power station, and it just gives you more choice of power source. And also, as I briefly mentioned, the slide tray will be a good product, and I really look forward to seeing that complete. Slide tray, so if you're into mountain biking, that's probably one you're going to be wanting to look out for. So how can you sleep 6 people in a VW Transporter? Well, obviously you can have a massive awning on the side, but that's not inside, is it? So how do you sleep 6? Well, firstly, you've got the rib bed or the rock and roll bed, that's 2. And then you've got another 2 up in the pop top. The next 2 people, and when I say people, this is small people, or actually even perhaps dogs, they can sleep on bunk beds. Yes, bunk beds on the front seats, or you could even opt for the single option. And this is for a company called Kabunk, and it gives you the potential of having 2 additional people being able to sleep. It's just another option. You don't have to do it, but it's just another option if you wanted to. If you don't have a pop top, then you could use these bunk beds for children to sleep in instead. So you could sleep your 4, your 2 on the rib or rock and roll, and then your 2 in the bunk beds as well. It's just a cheaper option than getting a pop top, or cheaper than getting a roof tent. Just another option, just widening the different options which you've got. And it's really, really simple to install, really easy. Well, it is when you've done it a few times, but it is actually less complicated than it looks. Once you have done it, it is quite simple. As long as you know where it's going, it's really easy to do. And if you are sleeping in the front, or even in the back for that matter, to ensure that you've got some darkness when the sun is rising, this van has got blackout covers at the front, and they're really compact, roll up into a small bag, rather than the big thing I've got, but mine is a thermal one. These roll up into a bag, and they've got magnets on them, and they just stick on the metal framework of the door, and jobs are good and really easy to do. And then as far as the front windscreen's concerned, you've just got a couple of press studs, hook over the sun blinds, and there you go, you've got some darkness. Anyway, with all this good stuff, what would I change in regards to this van? Well, firstly, I would add wind deflectors on the doors. They're a must for any camper van. With these, you're able just to crack open the windows and let in the fresh air at night. Reduces that condensation in the van. Gives you that better airflow. Every van should definitely have them. And I would also upgrade the speakers in the front. Every time I get in a van with factory speakers in the front, it just shows how much better the aftermarket upgrades are. Plus the sound deadening in the doors. This upgrade is really worthwhile. If you listen to any sort of audio in your vehicle, then it's definitely something to have. Additionally to this, the head unit, the factory one just looks so small, and having wireless Apple CarPlay is so much better than having to plug in a cable and risk forgetting your phone. Yeah, I am guilty of actually doing that. I'm not sure if you can see, but there's some Dartmoor ponies around here,
actually scaring me a little bit because they're actually running around. And also what I would have is fly screens. There are various different ones available in different forms, which means that if you've got that open living space and having the tailgate open, then you really could do with one, because as this light starts to drop and the flies start coming out and flying around, as it becomes dark outside, they're attracted to the lights inside the van, which means that they're just going to get in your van. So you've got to kind of shut all the doors, which means you've not got that air. So it's really good to have the fly screens, so you're able to actually keep the doors open, whilst at the same time having the fresh air coming in. Especially if you're parked on Dartmoor or you're near a river or something like that, you really do have quite a lot of flies. So it's definitely something worth considering. And also, one of the big things that this van is missing is van shades. I really like van shades. They are blackout and they look far better than curtains, especially that they're available in many different colours. Giving you the option to add some colour to the van, they will definitely be in my next van, I can assure you of that. And perhaps next, and possibly neither of these are actually practically possible, or maybe would just be difficult to do. I love the roof line of this van, I really do like it, but with some LED lights would make it look absolutely outstanding. Kind of like the halo roof type lights or the starry roof lights. I think it would take hours to build, but I'm just saying it'd look good. I'm saying, don't say no, just do it, but I think it'd look good. But the next idea definitely would be a lot more difficult. A heated water system. Having hot water would be fantastic, a game changer in fact. Although you won't see many transporters with hot water systems in it for various different reasons, such as space. A hot water heating system takes up a lot of space, especially if you're incorporating a tank. There are various standalone units which you can get, but they need to be used outside. So I guess it could be incorporated into the system. Who knows? There are far more technically capable people than I am who could actually answer that. It isn't impossible, because I do know vans that have done it. It'd be good to have hot water. But what do you think of this system? Do you have it? It just gives another option which could suit you better than maybe a full conversion. Did you know I previously said that a T6 could be better than a T6.1? Well, you can see that video here to what I think now, or see some incredible vans here. Take care and thanks for watching.